¿Cómo estamos, mi gente? We're here on a Monday morning asking ourselves, why do people hate Charlotte Flair? You know, I've had this question come up a lot, and I've always been curious, what is it about Charlotte Flair that just drives the IWC crazy? So I have some thoughts on this. I want to say right off the bat, it feels as if there might be a little hate on her because your favorite wrestler is not as good as she is. And yes, I'm being that outlandish with my statement because honestly, let's look at what Charlotte Flair does for the company. She's the top name in the women's division. She is a 15-time champion. She would be 17 if they decided to take NXT seriously. She never has a problem jobbing to anyone. She has been world champion for one day 3 different times and dropped the championship 3 different times to a new star. Carmella, Nikki, and Bayley. Bayley's not a new star. But she's done that and chased the championship, helped raise the championship to more heights, all while making these women into bona fide stars. She worked Asuka at WrestleMania in one of the best matches ever. She always provides you with great matches all along the way. She single-handedly made Rhea Ripley by having their 3 big pay-per-view matches, 2 of them being at WrestleMania. And after she finished her feud with Rhea Ripley, now Rhea is the top woman in the business. She's had one of the greatest feuds in the history of the women's division with her one-on-one feud with Sasha. She's also had another phenomenal feud with Becky Lynch, all while being the catalyst for the man. I mean, honestly, I've seen a lot of lazy, really false, I would say, stories as to why people don't like her. One of the reasons that I've seen is that she's a 15-time champ. And why does she need the championship so much? So to that I ask you, let's look at the other women in the division during the Charlotte Flair era. Alexa Bliss, 7-time women's champion. Bayley, 5-time women's champion. Sasha Banks, 6-time women's champion. Becky Lynch, 4-time women's champion. Bianca, 3-time women's champion. Asuka, 3-time women's champion. I mean, this is all in Charlotte's era. If she's dominated, if she's been so oversaturated, why do so many people have multiple title reigns during her time? I'm curious because when I look at this, I look at her, she is a wonderful second-generation superstar. And yes, I get it. Her dad is considered by many to be the greatest of all time. But I also ask myself, why does she catch more hate than a Randy Orton, than a Bray Wyatt, than a Cody Rhodes? She's treated as a Ted DiBiase Jr. She's treated as a Scott Putski. She is treated by the IWC as if she's Brian Christopher. I really feel like we're in this generation of professional wrestling fans where we like to hate current greatness, and then in the most disingenuous way, we praise them once they've left the business. And I'm so curious as to why this is a thing. Why do we need to be this way? Why can't we just appreciate something that's been put right in front of us? Why can't we just appreciate Charlotte Flair for who she is and what she's done for the women's division? There is not a male star that has done in so little time what she has done for the women's division. She is so good and she always gives back. And for some weird reason, and I can't really put my finger on it, but for some weird reason, people tend to just treat her as if she's unwanted. Like you guys are unhappy with her actually being a part of the wrestling community. And I think to myself, you can't really hate the Flair name, right? Because would you be this angry if David Flair had turned out to be a great wrestler? I don't understand. I've seen that she is a 15-time champion and that bothers you. They want her to break Ric Flair's record. I hate that. Did you hate it when John Cena hit 16? Did you hate it when Triple H hit 14? Did you hate it when Edge hit 11? Did you hate it when Randy Orton hit 14? Did you hate it when Sting hit 15? I'm so curious because it's starting to really feel like we can only key in on one real reason Charlotte Flair catches hate. Because I truly believe Charlotte Flair is top 5 in wrestling today, male or female. Yes, I have said that. I will argue that with anyone. What she's been able to do in such a short amount of time in professional wrestling, very few men in the history of the business have done. I really want to know what it is about Charlotte Flair that upsets people. Is it because she's cocky? Because wouldn't you be if you were that athletically gifted? Is it because she's beautiful? Are you that upset that someone that looks like her can be that good as well? Is it because when she gets angry about her placement on a card, she will steal the show? Because she's prone to doing that as well. The level of disrespect that Charlotte is received by wrestling fans, it doesn't feel like a kayfabe thing. It doesn't feel like Mark's just hating the bad guy. Because this has nothing to do with professional wrestling. We're not talking about whether we hate her on screen. We're not talking about her promos, which she is top 2 or 3 in the world in terms of female promos. But we're not having these conversations. It's always the same lazy argument. She wouldn't be where she is if her last name wasn't Flair. I just don't believe that. I believe if her last name wasn't Flair, you'd appreciate her more. That's the argument we should be having. But in terms of hating on her, I really feel like it's become the internet like trend. Let's hate Charlotte Flair because other people do. Because some mark on the internet told you, hey, I hate Charlotte, so you should hate her too. It's very disingenuous because what I do know about pro wrestling and what I do know about Mark fans is that they are the most fickle fan base in all of sports or entertainment. Because if Charlotte, God forbid, were to sustain a career-threatening injury, and if, God forbid, we were to lose her, all of a sudden, this outpour of love and admiration would be here for her. I have said this on multiple occasions. I talk about this with Tyler, my co-host on our podcast here. I talk about it all the time. Charlotte Flair is the LeBron James of professional wrestling. She is the most hated superstar. And it's gotten to the point now where we find reasons to hate on her. And that's what they do to LeBron James. That's what NBA fans do to him. Nobody wants to appreciate the fact that he's going into his 21st season in the NBA. Nobody wants to appreciate the fact that he's the second greatest basketball player of all time. Some might argue the first. That argument won't be made here. But getting back to Charlotte, do you see the comparisons? It doesn't matter what LeBron James does in the NBA. His haters are going to hate, and they're going to hate stronger than the people that love him. And that's exactly how it is with Charlotte Flair. It doesn't matter how great Charlotte Flair is. It doesn't matter how phenomenal her matches are. You guys won't be happy until she walks away. And then you'll be angry she's gone. So here's my plea to you. Just appreciate her while we have her. She's 37. We don't know how much longer she's going to be doing this. And from what we've seen in AEW, it could get worse. We could be stuck with a division with a bunch of green wrestlers who have not been given the opportunity to work veterans. We have a company that takes care of the women in terms of helping them get to their athletic peak. We don't have bad women's matches in WWE. We have bad women's matches in AEW. AEW doesn't take care of the women's wrestlers the way WWE does. But there isn't a single person in the AEW division that can touch Charlotte Flair. I think that's also mind-boggling. Charlotte is the top in-ring performer in a company where any woman would leave WWE, go to AEW, and be the top star. She is the top star on a roster full of top stars. I really want you guys to appreciate what we have right now. Because as someone who grew up with the Bella Twins, with Tori, Major Guns, Gorgeous George, we weren't given the opportunity to watch these women kill it. And whenever we had those very few phenomenal superstars like a Victoria, a Molly Holly, a Jazz, who's another underappreciated star, we didn't care. So I'll leave you with this question. Do you like to hate Charlotte Flair because it's become the cool thing to do? Or do you genuinely dislike Charlotte Flair?